The humans had earned respect, admiration, and a fair share of concern from their alien allies. Their reckless brilliance had saved fleets and systems, but their unpredictability left many in the coalition uneasy. Now a new challenge loomed, a threat that would test not only human ingenuity but the patience and unity of the entire coalition. The coalition fleet was returning from the Ilara Prime system when an urgent distress signal came from the Outer Rim. The message was garbled, but the meaning was clear. A hidden enemy, previously unknown, had launched a surprise attack on a vital Council stronghold, a research hub orbiting the planet Solara. The fleet raced toward the system. Commander Elias Kane reviewed the incoming reports. Alien intelligence had little to offer. The enemy's movements were erratic, almost chaotic, but effective. Entire fleets had been destroyed and several vital installations were under siege. The humans were the coalition's edge, but the situation was more dangerous than anything they had faced so far. "All right, team," Kane said to his human crew. "This isn't just a skirmish. Lives are at stake. And the aliens expect us to follow rules. We're going to do it our way." Lyra Torres adjusted her tool belt and nodded. "Our way always works, Elias, but let's try to keep the damage to a minimum this time." The fleet arrived at Solara's orbit to find chaos. Alien ships were under heavy fire, shields failing and civilians trapped on orbiting stations. The enemy's ships moved unpredictably, striking without warning and disappearing just as suddenly. Alien commanders were paralyzed, unsure how to respond. Kane immediately divided his team. Human pilots darted through enemy lines, creating diversions. Engineers, including Torres, prepared emergency repairs for damaged ships. Humans acted without waiting for Council approval, a decision that infuriated several alien admirals. "Do they always ignore orders?" hissed a crystalline diplomat. "We cannot control them," Thera, observing from the flagship bridge, whispered. "They do not need control. They act where others hesitate. That is their strength." The humans moved through the battlefield with remarkable speed and precision. Jessa Rowe led a squadron of light fighters, weaving between enemy ships in a dizzying pattern. Alien pilots struggled to keep up, both impressed and frustrated. "Focus," Kane called over the comm. "Watch their patterns, but don't be predictable. Use your instincts." The humans' instincts were uncanny. They anticipated enemy maneuvers, adjusted their strategies mid-flight, and adapted to new threats instantly. Where alien fleets would have stalled, humans acted decisively. They rescued stricken ships, stabilized energy cores, and redirected power to failing shields. Meanwhile, Torres and her engineering team worked inside the flagship. The enemy had sabotaged the main energy conduits, threatening to collapse the ship entirely. Alien engineers hesitated, following strict protocols that would have taken hours. Torres, however, improvised. She repurposed spare components, rerouted energy through unconventional paths, and prevented a catastrophic explosion. "It's impossible," one alien engineer muttered. "She's bending the rules of physics." Torres smiled faintly. "Sometimes you have to think differently." The humans' actions began turning the tide of battle, but not without cost. Several human ships were damaged, and the reckless maneuvers caused minor collisions with alien vessels. Alien commanders shouted complaints over the comm, but Kane ignored them, focusing on survival and success. As the battle escalated, the enemy launched a concentrated strike at the flagship. The humans devised a daring counterattack. Kane personally led a strike team through a dense asteroid field, using the rocks as cover. They emerged behind the enemy fleet, hitting critical supply lines and disabling communications. The aliens were stunned. Where they had planned carefully and hesitated, the humans had acted boldly and succeeded. It was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. During the chaos, one young human, Lieutenant Arik Vale, risked his life to save a trapped alien shuttle. He maneuvered his fighter through a collapsing debris field, clipped the shuttle with a tether, and guided it safely away from destruction. Alien officers on the flagship watched in disbelief. "He's insane," whispered one reptilian admiral. Yet he succeeded. Kane shook his head, smiling. "No, he's human." "That's the difference." Finally, the humans discovered the enemy's base hidden within a nearby nebula. The enemy fleet had been using advanced cloaking and hit-and-run tactics, but humans found weaknesses that others overlooked. Torres suggested using a combination of modified ion disruptors and unconventional maneuvers, to disable the enemy shields. Kane approved, trusting her instincts. The plan was dangerous. One mistake could destroy the entire fleet. But humans thrived in danger. Pilots executed complex flight patterns, engineers synchronized weapons in real time, and the fleet adapted to enemy counterattacks. The strike was a success. The enemy base was neutralized, its fleet scattered, and Solara's research hub saved. Coalition forces cheered, alien admirals finally acknowledging humanity's effectiveness. Yet the aftermath revealed the dual nature of humans. Several alien ships had suffered damage due to reckless human tactics. Minor casualties occurred, and the Council recorded these incidents carefully. Humans had saved the day, but at a cost that alien species struggled to understand. Ambassador Kryn voiced his concern during a debrief. They are effective, yes, but one miscalculation, one impulsive move, and this fleet could have been destroyed. Thera replied calmly. And yet, they succeeded where others might have failed. That is the balance we must accept. Humans do not act like us, but they achieve what we cannot. Kane addressed his human team after the battle. We did it. We saved lives, protected the system, and defeated the enemy. Remember this, we are not just fighters. We are humans. We adapt, we improvise, and we survive. That is what makes us different and powerful. Lyra Torres nodded. And that is exactly what the galaxy fears and admires about us. As the fleet repaired and regrouped, humans continued to demonstrate their value. They rescued trapped alien civilians, repaired failing starships, and provided innovative strategies for future operations. Alien commanders, though wary, began to rely on human input, realizing that ignoring their suggestions would be foolish. Yet tensions remained. Some aliens still feared the humans' unpredictability. Minor disputes flared, communications were strained, and strict protocols were occasionally ignored. Kane navigated these tensions with diplomacy, reminding both humans and aliens that survival required collaboration, even if methods differed. One incident stood out. During a routine patrol, a human reconnaissance team discovered an enemy ambush near a critical jump gate. Instead of following standard alert procedures, the team acted immediately, disabling enemy sensors and rerouting power to warn coalition ships. Their quick action prevented a disaster, but alien commanders criticized the lack of protocol. Kane stood firm. We cannot wait for bureaucracy when lives are at stake. Humans think fast because we have to. That is our strength. Thera, observing from the flagship, took careful notes. The humans' independence is both a challenge and a gift. They are the best allies when they succeed, but the worst when their choices cause chaos. We must learn to respect both aspects. Over the next weeks, the Coalition fleet continued to operate with humans integrated into key roles. They led strike teams, repaired critical systems, and advised alien commanders on strategies. Each success built admiration, but each risk reminded the Council that humans could not be contained or fully predicted. Despite the danger, humans formed bonds with alien allies. Kane encouraged collaboration, emphasizing mutual respect and trust. Humans learned to work alongside alien technology and tactics, while aliens began to appreciate human creativity and resilience. One evening, as the fleet rested near a peaceful system, Kane and Torres discussed the mission. The aliens are impressed, Torres said, but they're also scared. They don't understand us fully, Kane nodded. That's the point. They will never fully understand humans, and that is why we are needed. We do what others cannot, see what others cannot, and survive where others fail. We are the galaxy's wild card, Lyra smiled. The best and the worst all in one package. Kane looked out at the stars. Exactly. And the galaxy is about to learn that firsthand. The question is, can they accept it? As the fleet continued toward new assignments, the humans' reputation spread. Across Coalition communication channels, alien species shared stories of human bravery, ingenuity, and occasional chaos. Some argued for stricter control. Others argued that humanity's unpredictable nature was exactly why the Coalition could succeed in the most dangerous situations. Humans themselves remained unaware of the full debate. For them, each mission was about solving problems, protecting lives, and surviving, but their actions had consequences that reached far beyond their understanding. The Council watched, recorded, and debated, realizing that one species could not be easily categorized. Humans were both a blessing and a challenge, a paradox that the galaxy had never encountered before. Finally, Kane addressed the human contingent again. Remember this, team. We are not like anyone else. We fight differently. We think differently. And that is why the galaxy needs us, but also why they fear us. Do not forget, we are the best allies when we succeed and the worst when we fail. That is our nature. The humans nodded, determined. The humans had made their first impression on the Galaxy Council. Some were impressed, some were wary, but no one could deny their capability. The Council, after long debate, had agreed to a trial mission. Humanity would join a coalition fleet on the edge of the galaxy. The objective was simple in words but deadly in reality. Secure a system rich in resources before a hostile faction claimed it. Commander Elias Kane led the human contingent. Alongside him were engineers, pilots, and strategists, all hand-picked for their ability to adapt quickly and think outside the box. They joined alien crews from multiple species, each with their own traditions, tactics, and hierarchies. The moment humans boarded the coalition flagship, tension was visible. Aliens whispered among themselves, some watching humans closely. They act as if rules do not exist, muttered Ambassador Kryn. I have seen them disregard protocols already. Kane smiled at the observation. We follow our own rules. The galaxy will adjust. The mission began in a volatile region of space near a star system known as Ilara Prime. The system was rich in energy crystals, valuable not just for fuel but for advanced technologies. Both the coalition and an unknown faction wanted them. If the humans failed, the consequences could be catastrophic. From the start, humans proved themselves. Their tactics were unconventional. While alien fleets moved in structured formations, human pilots took daring routes through asteroid fields using debris as cover. Some commanders scowled, worried about the risks. Others whispered admiration. The humans' small craft moved with speed and precision that surprised everyone, dodging enemy sensors and artillery. Unbelievable, said a reptilian officer. They risk everything, yet they succeed. Kane's team coordinated with alien leaders, but not always perfectly. Humans argued, suggested changes, and sometimes ignored orders when they saw a better way. One alien admiral grew frustrated. They do not follow the chain of command, she hissed. Kane replied calmly. We are all fighting the same enemy. We adjust as needed. Sometimes that means thinking differently. Their first engagement was a skirmish near a gas giant. The enemy fleet had superior numbers, but humans saw opportunities where others saw danger. Pilots darted through gravitational anomalies, confusing enemy targeting systems. Engineers used makeshift modifications to alien ship weapons, increasing their firing speed. In the chaos, humans saved several damaged alien ships, yet it was not without cost. One human squadron miscalculated a jump through an asteroid belt. Several ships sustained heavy damage.
The aliens were alarmed, some angry, but the humans had succeeded in striking a key enemy base, see?
Kane said as he patched up communication systems. We win. Yes, we take risks. But those risks save lives in the long run. Alien strategists were forced to admit that humans were both brilliant and reckless. They achieved what no other species could. They adapted in ways the Council had not imagined. But they also introduced uncertainty into carefully laid plans. As the mission progressed, the humans' reputation grew among the coalition. One of the engineers, Lyra Torres, became famous for her ingenuity. She repaired a damaged energy core on a failing alien frigate, improvising parts from spare equipment. Her solution was so clever that even the alien engineers admitted it was beyond their own design limits. The aliens began to understand a key human trait: creativity under pressure. Where other species followed patterns, humans experimented. Where others hesitated, humans acted. And when mistakes happened, they learned faster than anyone else. But not all aliens were pleased. Some saw humans as a liability. One misstep, hissed a crystalline diplomat, and we all die. I do not like their methods. Kane responded with his usual calm. Yes, mistakes happen. But they also teach us lessons. Humans adapt. That is why we survive. Then disaster struck. An ambush was waiting near the outer planets of Ilara Prime. The coalition fleet was lured into a trap. Enemy ships blocked the main route, while hidden missiles targeted the fleet's engines. Panic swept through the alien ranks. Many species froze, unsure how to respond. The humans acted immediately. Kane divided his team, sending pilots to distract enemy forces while engineers rerouted power to shields and weapons. The humans' improvisation was chaotic but effective. One human pilot, a young woman named Jessa Rowe, flew through enemy lines in a tiny fighter, drawing fire away from larger ships. Another team hacked the enemy's communications network, sowing confusion. The aliens watched in disbelief. Where they would have followed standard battle protocols, humans created new strategies on the spot, and it worked. The ambush failed, coalition ships survived, and many enemy ships were destroyed. Yet the cost was high. Several human pilots were injured, and some alien vessels suffered minor damage due to the humans' daring maneuvers. The aliens were grateful but also frustrated. "They save us," muttered one reptilian admiral. "But at what price?" Kane shrugged. "The price is always there. We face it head-on. That is what humans do." After the ambush, the coalition fleet held a council aboard the flagship. Alien leaders argued over whether to restrict human actions. Kane defended his team. "Our way is not perfect," he said, "but it works. We succeed where others might fail. You can impose rules, but that will limit what we can do." The aliens had no easy answer. Humans were effective, yes, but unpredictable. Could they be trusted in larger campaigns? Or would their recklessness cause disaster? The next challenge tested humans further. A stranded alien research station on a small moon had been attacked by enemy forces. The coalition needed to rescue the scientists and recover critical research data. Kane led a small strike team. They traveled in lightly armed ships, bypassing enemy patrols. Using a combination of human intuition and alien navigation data, they landed on the moon under heavy fire. Lyra Torres quickly assessed the station's damaged systems. "We can fix this, but we'll need to reroute energy from non-essential modules," she said. Alien engineers looked doubtful, unsure if such improvisation was possible. Torres worked quickly. Humans assisted in manual repairs, climbing damaged structures, rerouting conduits, and stabilizing failing reactors. All the while, the team defended themselves from enemy drones. Finally, the station's systems came back online. The research data was saved, and the scientists evacuated safely. Kane's team had succeeded in a mission that many alien commanders had thought impossible. But once again, the aliens noted the chaos. The humans had broken protocols, ignored warnings, and risked lives recklessly, yet they had saved the day. Ambassador Kryn spoke privately with Thera. "I do not understand them. They are frustrating. They break all rules, yet they are brilliant. How can one species be both a blessing and a curse?" Thera smiled faintly. "That is humanity. You do not need to understand them fully. You only need to accept that they operate differently, and sometimes different is what the galaxy needs." By the time the fleet secured the resource-rich system, humans had earned a mixture of admiration and fear. They were praised for courage, innovation, and quick thinking. They were criticized for recklessness and disobedience, but no one could deny their impact. That night, Kane looked out from the flagship's observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly. He thought of Earth, of the people who had never left their planet, and of the humans who had just proven themselves among alien fleets. "They called us reckless," he said quietly to Lyra, who stood beside him. "Maybe we are. But we also make the impossible possible. That is who we are," Lyra nodded, "and they have to learn that. We can't be controlled, Elias. That is our strength." Indeed, the council had already begun recording debates about humanity. Some members argued that humans should be contained, their impulses monitored. Others argued that humans' unpredictability was exactly why they were necessary for galactic stability. Even within the coalition, alien commanders were divided. Some admired the humans' courage and ingenuity. Others feared the consequences of allowing humans free rein. The humans themselves were unaware of much of this debate. For them, the mission was clear: face the challenges, protect lives, and succeed. And they did, again and again. Each victory came with risk, but each risk taught humans lessons that no alien species could fully grasp. It was in the quiet moments between battles that Kane reflected on the truth of humanity. Humans were messy, impulsive, and often reckless, but they were resilient, brave, and brilliant in ways the galaxy had never seen. They could inspire others, improvise solutions, and act with courage when logic failed. The humans' actions had left the aliens in awe. Even those who feared them could not deny the results. Humanity had proven that it was not just another species. They were a force of nature, capable of both chaos and salvation. As the coalition fleet prepared to return to the Council with the secured system, Kane addressed his team. "Remember this," he said. "We fight differently. We take risks differently. We save lives differently. The galaxy may not understand us yet, but they will. And when they do, they will see the truth. Humans are the best allies they could hope for and maybe the most dangerous." The humans cheered quietly, proud but focused. They knew more challenges lay ahead. More ambushes, more missions, more opportunities to prove themselves, and they were ready. Above them, the alien fleet watched humans with a mixture of respect, fear, and amazement. The Galaxy Council had never seen humans before. In all their centuries of exploring the stars, the Council had catalogued thousands of species. They had dealt with cunning traders, fierce warriors, brilliant scientists, and even some species that were unusual. But humans were something different. Reports from scout probes had arrived in the Council chambers over the past weeks. The sensors described humans as remarkably resilient, extremely adaptable, and utterly unpredictable. Every alien species had its strengths and weaknesses, but humans seemed to combine extremes in a way no one could fully understand. Some reports highlighted humans' genius in invention and strategy. Others warned about their tendency to act impulsively, sometimes risking lives recklessly. "Are we sure we want to invite them into our coalition?" asked Ambassador Kryn, a tall, translucent-skinned alien with 4 eyes. His voice trembled slightly with skepticism. "The reports are inconsistent. One moment, humans are building starships in weeks. The next, they are charging headfirst into dangers we would never consider." Ambassador Thera, a member of the Council known for her calm reasoning, adjusted her robes. "It is precisely their unpredictability that makes them interesting. They adapt where others fail. We cannot ignore that." A holographic map of Earth appeared in the chamber. Cities glimmered in golden light, seas shimmered in blues, and the green of forests stretched across continents. Human civilization was young compared to the lifespans of most Council species, but it was vibrant, full of life, and growing fast. The Council finally decided to send a small delegation to Earth. They wanted to see humans for themselves before deciding whether to involve them in larger interstellar alliances. The mission would be subtle, observation only, no interference. Commander Elias Kane had no idea the galaxy was watching him. He was busy with his usual duties, testing a new energy reactor for interstellar travel. The laboratory smelled of ozone and hot metal. Sparks occasionally danced from unfinished machinery. Humans were known for tinkering, for trying things that others would call dangerous experiments. Kane was no exception. He worked fast, often improvising, sometimes ignoring safety protocols, but he got results. When the alien delegation arrived in orbit, they remained cloaked and silent. They watched Earth for several days, observing humanity's behavior. To the aliens, it was chaos. Humans rushed from city to city, their machines noisy and dangerous. They built bridges, skyscrapers, and transport systems at speeds no other species could match. Yet humans also fought natural disasters with ingenuity. Hurricanes, earthquakes, fires. Humans adapted, rebuilt, and often thrived after destruction. Ambassador Kryn whispered to the others, "They are reckless. One moment they risk everything for small gains. The next they show remarkable courage. How do we trust such beings?" Thera smiled faintly. "Trust is not the issue. Opportunity is. Look at their innovation. They solve problems no one else can." The Council decided that observation alone was not enough. A small envoy would approach Earth. The alien ship descended silently, invisible to humans in the skies above the Pacific Ocean. They watched humans from above, curious about how such a fragile-looking species could survive so well. It was during a sudden earthquake in the Pacific Rim that the humans revealed their true nature. A city was on the brink of collapse. Bridges swayed, buildings trembled, and people panicked. Kane, already traveling in the region for testing his energy reactor, sprang into action. He led a team of volunteers, engineers, rescuers, and even civilians into the heart of the disaster. The aliens observed silently. Humans worked quickly, using ropes, cranes, and improvised devices to rescue those trapped. One human, a small girl named Amira, crawled through a collapsed tunnel and reached a trapped family. She carried them out, exhausted but determined. Kane directed teams to stabilize the area, coordinating efforts with precision that no alien strategist could have predicted. "Remarkable," whispered one alien scientist. "They do not fear danger. They create solutions where none seem possible." The aliens were amazed, but they also noted the recklessness. Several humans narrowly avoided death, ignoring safety rules that alien protocols would never allow. One misstep and lives could have been lost. Yet the humans survived. They adapted. They succeeded. Later, the aliens revealed themselves. A beam of light from the sky formed the shape of a translucent humanoid. Kane, standing in the middle of a makeshift command post, stared up. He had studied the stars, had dreamed of alien life, but nothing could have prepared him for this. "Humans," said the alien voice. It was calm, melodic, and slightly distorted. "We are observers from the Galactic Council. We have watched your species. We wish to speak with you." Kane blinked, then stepped forward. "I am Commander Elias Kane. What do you want from us?" The alien's eyes, or what Kane assumed were eyes, glimmered. "We are impressed by your ingenuity and bravery. You solve problems others cannot. You survive dangers others would avoid, yet you are reckless, chaotic, unpredictable. We must know, can humanity be trusted as an ally in galactic affairs?" Kane laughed, a short, sharp sound. "Trust? That depends on what you mean. Humans are humans. We take risks, yes. We fight when needed. We innovate. If you want predictable, safe allies, you came to the wrong planet." The aliens exchanged glances. One of them, a smaller, insect-like being, whispered, "They are impossible." Thera, observing from the ship, noted, "Impossible. Yes, but effective. They survive when others fail. That is what matters." The delegation invited Kane and a small team to their ship. The humans were cautious but curious. The alien vessel was vast, far larger than any human starship. Its interior shimmered with light and energy. Humans marveled at the alien technology but were not intimidated. They asked questions, poked at controls, and tried to understand systems intuitively. The aliens were surprised. "They understand our technology. Without training?" One asked. "They adapt," Thera replied. "They think differently. That is their power." Over several days, the humans demonstrated remarkable problem-solving skills. They repaired minor malfunctions, optimized energy systems, and even suggested improvements that alien engineers had not considered. But the aliens also noted the humans' flaws. They ignored rules, sometimes acted before thinking, and occasionally caused small accidents. One human engineer accidentally short-circuited a containment system, almost causing a power surge. The aliens gasped, but Kane calmly redirected the energy, preventing disaster. "See," Kane said, "we fix problems as fast as we create them." Finally, the council held a private meeting aboard their flagship. The humans, unaware of the debates, were resting, eating, and sharing stories. Aliens from dozens of species discussed. "They are dangerous," said Kryn. "We cannot control them. They do not follow protocols." "Yes," said another member, a reptilian strategist, "but they achieve results no one else could. Their creativity, their courage. It is unparalleled," Thera nodded. "They are not perfect. No species is. But if we want allies who can solve impossible problems, adapt to any situation, and fight with both intelligence and courage, humanity may be our best choice." The council was divided. Some wanted to use humans as controlled operatives, tools to be managed carefully. Others argued that humans could not be controlled, but that their independence was exactly why they were valuable. Meanwhile, Kane and his team explored the ship. They learned more about the galaxy than any human had ever known. Stars, planets, alien civilizations, it was overwhelming. Yet humans were adaptable. They asked questions, shared ideas, and even offered solutions that the council had not considered. At night, Kane looked out through a massive observation window. The stars stretched endlessly. He thought of Earth, of the people he left behind, and of the new allies he had just met. He realized that humanity was small, fragile, and reckless, but also capable of greatness that no one could have predicted. The aliens watched humans for one final test before leaving. A simulated threat was created, a containment breach in the ship's energy core. The humans reacted immediately. Without waiting for instructions, they assessed the situation, divided tasks, and acted. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and tension filled the air, but humans adapted. Using tools, quick thinking, and sheer determination, In the end, they solved the crisis, impressing the aliens beyond measure. Thera whispered to Kryn, "They are extraordinary. Dangerous, yes, but extraordinary. The galaxy may not be ready for them, but we are seeing the future in action." Kryn shook his head. "They are unpredictable. I cannot tell whether this will bring salvation or chaos." The delegation returned to orbit, leaving Kane and his team on Earth. They had observed, tested, and learned. But the Council had a decision to make. Should humanity be a trusted ally, or a wild force that might disrupt everything the galaxy had built? Kane did not know the Council's debates. He only knew that humans had survived, adapted, and excelled where others would have failed. And in his heart, he felt a quiet certainty. Humanity would not only survive, they would shape the future of the galaxy. As the alien ship disappeared into the void, Kane turned to his team. "They've seen what we can do," he said. "Now it's up to us to show them exactly why humans make the best allies, and maybe the worst." Far above, the Council recorded their observations, noting both admiration and concern. Humanity had arrived. The battle at Solara had ended, but the effects of humanity's actions rippled across the galaxy. Aliens whispered stories of human bravery, ingenuity, and recklessness. Some called it miraculous, others called it dangerous, and all eyes returned to the Council. The question remained, were humans a blessing or a curse? Commander Elias Kane and his team had returned to the Council's flagship after weeks at the edge of the galaxy. They had accomplished the mission, saved lives, and impressed even the most skeptical allies. Yet they could feel the tension in the air. Alien leaders regarded them with a mixture of respect, caution, and curiosity. Kane was summoned to the Council chamber. The room was massive, filled with beings of every shape and color, from crystalline diplomats to massive scaled warriors. All had watched the humans' actions from Ilara Prime to Solara, and all had formed opinions. Ambassador Thera greeted Kane. "Commander, your species has proven itself extraordinary. Yet your methods have raised questions. The Council must decide your role in future galactic operations." Kane nodded. "I understand. We are not perfect, but we act with purpose. Humans face danger, adapt, and succeed. That is what matters." Thera gestured to the Council members. "Then let us review your missions and the observations. The debate will be thorough. All members have opinions." The discussion began. One by one, Council members presented reports. Some praised the humans' courage, adaptability, and inventive thinking. Others focused on their recklessness, their disregard for protocol, and the risks they introduced to coalition operations. "They saved fleets," said a reptilian admiral. "But at the same time, several ships suffered damage due to their impulsive actions. This is unacceptable by our standards." A crystalline diplomat argued the opposite. "Unacceptable or not, humans succeed where we fail. They find solutions to problems that none of our species could solve. That is invaluable." Kane watched quietly as the debate continued. He had heard similar arguments before but knew the truth. Humans were not perfect, but they could adapt, improvise, and think in ways the Council could not. That was why the galaxy needed them. Finally, Thera turned to him. "Commander Kane, the Council is divided. Some argue humans should be restricted and monitored closely. Others insist they should be given freedom to act. What is your recommendation?" Kane took a deep breath. "Humans cannot be controlled like other species. We do not follow orders blindly. We take risks, yes, but every risk is calculated in our own way. Our strength is in thinking differently, acting decisively, and caring about life. Restricting humans would limit what we can achieve. Freedom is what makes us effective." The room fell silent. Alien leaders whispered among themselves. Kane's words were both defiant and honest. He did not promise perfection. He promised effectiveness, creativity, and courage. Thera spoke again. "It seems humans have forced the Council to face a truth long ignored. Predictability is not always strength. Adaptability and courage can change outcomes where logic fails. Commander Kane, your species has shown that." A reptilian admiral leaned forward. "Yet how can we trust a species that breaks rules and causes chaos? They saved the mission at Solara, yes, but they also risked countless lives." Kane nodded. "Yes, we risked lives, but the outcome proves the value of taking risks when necessary. Humans survive, adapt, and protect others even when the odds are against them. That is trust, not obedience but results." Thera allowed a small smile. "Perhaps humans define trust differently than other species." The council debated long into the cycle. Some argued for heavy restrictions on human actions. Others insisted that humans must act freely to remain effective. Finally, a vote was called. The result was not unanimous, but it was clear. Humans would be recognized as official allies. However, the council would maintain observation to understand their unique nature better. Kane and his team were called forward. The council members addressed the humans directly. "You have proven remarkable bravery, intelligence, and adaptability," Thera said. "Your methods are unconventional and at times dangerous, but your results cannot be ignored." The council recognizes humans as allies in the coalition, with freedoms unique to your species. A murmur went through the chamber. Humans were given a level of autonomy no other species had received. They could act on their instincts, innovate as they saw fit, and take calculated risks without interference, so long as the broader mission succeeded. Kane bowed slightly. "We will not fail. Humans act with courage, intelligence, and care. You have our word." As the humans left the council chamber, they felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. The galaxy had recognized their potential, but also their danger. They had a chance to shape the future, but only if they balanced their boldness with wisdom. Back aboard their human ships, Kane and his team reviewed the council's decision. "They have given us freedom," Lyra Torres said. "But that comes with responsibility. We cannot let recklessness harm others," Kane nodded. "Exactly. We will continue to fight, protect, and innovate. But we must also learn when to be cautious. Humans survive by adapting. That means learning from every action, success, or failure." Over the following cycles, humans became essential to coalition operations. They led missions that others could not, solved crises in ways alien strategists never imagined, and inspired allies with their courage and creativity. They were both revered and feared. One day, Kane received a communication from Thera. "Commander Kane, the Council has a final observation. Humans are unlike any species in history. They can be the galaxy's greatest allies, or its most unpredictable. Their value cannot be measured by rules alone. You have changed how the Council perceives life in the galaxy." Kane smiled at his team. "We've made our mark. Now it's up to all of us to show the galaxy what humans can do when they act with courage, intelligence, and heart." Torres added, "We've always been this way. The galaxy just needed to see it. And now they have." Meanwhile, alien leaders continued to debate humanity's nature. Some feared future disasters caused by human impulsiveness. Others celebrated the humans' ability to innovate, inspire, and succeed against impossible odds. The duality of humans, reckless yet brilliant, unpredictable yet effective, became a topic studied across the galaxy. Kane and his team continued their missions, facing new threats and challenges. Their reputation grew, stories of human ingenuity and bravery spreading among alien species. Every success proved their value. Every risk reminded allies of their unpredictability. And yet, humans remained humble. They understood their power, but they also understood responsibility. Their freedom was earned through courage, creativity, and results, not obedience. And that combination made them unique among all species. Finally, Kane addressed the Council one last time before the humans returned to Earth. "We are humans. We take risks, we innovate, and we adapt. We succeed when others fail. That is who we are. You cannot control us completely, but if you trust us, we can achieve more than you ever imagined." Thera nodded. "And that is the truth the galaxy must accept. Humans are both the best and the most challenging allies. Your nature cannot be changed, but it can be guided. And in that guidance lies the future of the Coalition." As humans returned to Earth, their reputation was solidified. They were respected, admired, and cautiously trusted across the galaxy. Aliens told stories of human courage, ingenuity, and determination. Humans had proven that success did not always come from following rules. It often came from daring, creativity, and the will to survive. Kane looked out at Earth from the observation deck of his ship. The blue planet shone brightly, alive with millions of lives and infinite potential. Humanity had shown the galaxy their power, but the journey was just beginning. "Humans are the best allies," Kane whispered, "and maybe the most dangerous. But that is exactly why the galaxy needs us." Lyra Torres stood beside him. "They will never forget us, and neither will we forget who we are." The Council would continue to watch, learn, and debate. But the truth was clear. Humans had changed the galaxy forever. Their courage, ingenuity, and adaptability had saved fleets, systems, and countless lives. They had proven that a species need not follow rules blindly to be valuable. Humanity's unpredictability was not a flaw. It was their greatest strength.